and be a man of God. And let everything else fall. Let the wicked crumble where it may. Lead your family. Be a real man. Stand up, step up, and step out and watch God arise. And his enemies be scattered. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. The world is living a lascivious lifestyle. And they're living under the assumption that somebody's coming to our rescue.
All right.
Somebody's going to come and save me from myself. But how many know you got to call your own number?
All right.
You really want to be rescued, you got to be like David and encourage yourself.
That's right.
While you're waiting for Clark Kent to go into the phone booth and become Superman and save you, you got to put an S on your own chest. You got to say, I'm going to save myself. I got 2 knees to get on and a God to pray to. I know my wait for anybody to come save me. Okay. It made sense when he told me. We're waiting for people to come save us, but God is saying you got the ability and capability. Proverbs 25:28 says, he that hath not ruled over his own spirit is like a city broken down and without walls. That you got to learn how to rule those unruly desires. You got to learn how to take control when the enemy says, put your hand in the cook. You got to learn how to say, no, I will not. The God I serve will be grieved, and what grieves my God will grieve me too. You see, if we start living our lives like what grieves God grieves me too, we will think twice, 3 times before we do something that he is not going to accept. So we've got to control ourselves. God gave us a measure of grace to where we don't have to call a prayer meeting about everything that we do. We don't got to call our prayer partner or the elders to do right.
That's right.
That if you know to do right, you just got to do it. Somebody say, just do it. Just do it. Just do it.
Yes, sir.
The second thing he told me to tell you is never abandon your testimony. What do you do when nobody comes to your rescue? How do you testify when you're yet going through? Do you dare stand up and say, I'm still in the valley, but God's about to pull me out of the valley? Do you dare stand up and say, I don't do it as much as I used to? We do good with testifying after God has already made a way. We do good with testifying after the check has come in the mail. We do good with testifying after we get the raise on the job. But where's the testimony when you get demoted on your job? Where's the testimony when you got more month due at the end of your money? Where's the testimony when your heart is broke and the lump is still there? God is saying it's good to testify when things come through, but can you testify while you're yet going through? You see, the realest testimonies never get told in church. We testify about not getting a speeding ticket. We testify about how we know somebody that knows somebody that got us the raise on the job. But that's not a real testimony. The real testimony is that I didn't get the raise, but God gave me the job. A real testimony is the lump is still there, but God is a healer. A real testimony is I still got bills to pay, but God is my provider. God is my provision. He'll never leave me, neither will he forsake me. The God I serve is not just the God in the mountain, he's the God in the valley. There is a lily in the valley that is brighter than the morning star. And yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. For thou art with me. Thy rod and the realest testimonies never get told in church because we get judgy. We get real judgy when it comes to testifying and going before the Lord. And everybody got to look holy. And so much until we bring our twin to church. I want anybody ever brought your twin to church. You know you're the holy you. The you that don't make any mistakes. The you that says bless the Lord anyhow. I ain't talking about the you that everybody likes. But we wind up bringing our twin into the sanctuary. But every now and then you ought to bring the real you here, so some deliverance can come. Don't bring Deacon Eddie. Bring freaking Freddie. Don't bring your good side. Bring that midnight rambler up in this altar. You see, God can't save Deacon Eddie, but God can save freaking Freddie. When you bring them to the altar, say, Lord, I'm tired of myself. I'm tired of my mess. I'm going to the house of God and get some change. Is that all right? I said, freaking Freddie.
I love you, sir. Yes, sir.
Because there's some freaking Freddies in church. They don't bring them to church. But there are some that have two sides.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. While you're waiting on your but God moment, you got to start to look back at what God has already done. See, you get strengthened from what God already did for you. See, every now and then you ought to look back over your shoulder and see what God already delivered you from. While you're yet waiting for your next phase of deliverance, don't neglect the deliverance that you already got. You see, it's hard for me to think about God and not thank my God. But when I begin to think, I start thanking him. It's hard for me to think about those nights in Raleigh streets where I could have been dead and gone and not begin to thank him. It's hard for me to think about those drugged out nights I had where I could have been gone, but he saved my soul anyway, and not begin to thank him. Every now and then while I'm waiting on my next minute, my next but God minute, I just thank God for what he's already done. I just look back and take inventory of the deliverances God brought me through. I remember driving home from a club called Plum Crazy. Yeah, it was called Plum Crazy because we went plum crazy when we went in that club. Drove all the way down I-40, 25 miles to my house, and I was drunk as a skunk before I left. People trying to take the keys from me. Then I woke up the next morning in my car, parked in my driveway, just as perfect as I've ever parked. And I looked back and I said, that must have been God. Last thing I remember was the last call for alcohol. The next thing I remember was God waking me up in my driveway. So I had to start thanking God for what he's already done. I don't get no witness right there. Y'all were born saved, but I got a testimony that God picked me up. I don't want to get too.
You're all right, sir. You're all right. Take your time.
You got to learn, my brothers and sisters. You got to learn how to control yourself. Then you got to learn how to testify. Because when you learn how to testify, somebody else will be overcome by the word of your testimony.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That when you testify, it's not even just about you, it's about what God has done for you.
That's right, sir. That's right.
And I know people get tired of hearing about your testimony, but there's somebody new that came to church that day or came to your house that day that needed to hear what God has done. People get tired of your deliverance because they ain't got delivered yet. People get tired of you talking about how good God is. But if they would just take hold to what God did for you, because it ain't no secret what God can do, what he's done for others, he can do for you too.
Yes, sir.
And if you really knew what your brother or sister have gone through, if you really knew how many but God moments they already had, if you really knew what it took for them just to get to church tonight, oh my God, if you really understood the fervency of their testimony, you would start to magnify God with them. If you really knew what was going on in somebody's mind right now, they're smiling and looking cute in church, but in the back of their mind, they have problems over top of problems,
Yes,
layered
yes,
with another problem.
Yes, sir.
If you really knew. You see, sometimes you just got to say, thank you, Lord.
Yes, sir.
And you ought to touch about 3 people and just say, thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Just say, thank you, Lord.
Yes.
Thank you, Lord. See, they don't know what your thank you, Lord, is about, but you know what it's about. And you understand, sometimes you can't really say much, but thank you, Lord, for all that you've done for me. And you got to never abandon your testimony. Because number 3, you got devils to deal with. You do. You got devils to deal with. Some are old devils. Some are new devils. Some are devils that plagued your grandfather. Some are devils that plagued your great-grandfather. But you got devils to deal with. You may not know or understand or recognize or even be cognizant to the fact, but there are devils trying to flow down your bloodline.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
There are devils trying to attach themselves to you through a generational curse.
Yes, sir.
And while you're waiting on God to save you, you've got devils to deal with. And sometimes we as men get comfortable with our devils. Have mercy. Sometimes we sit on the sidelines of life just waiting for something better to happen, not realizing that we've got to fight for what we believe in. Have you ever been waiting for something good to happen? Have you ever gone to bed thinking tomorrow's just got to be a better day? Have you ever gone to bed weak, weary, and wounded and say, man, I'm just glad this day is over. Tomorrow's got to be better than this one. Yeah, I have on many occasions gone to bed, just could not take anymore, and just was saying, well, tomorrow's got to be a better day because today had nothing good in it. Have you ever cried yourself to sleep? Have you ever been afraid to get out of bed because getting out of bed indicates that your day has got to start? Have you ever had anxiety over what hasn't even happened yet?
Come on now.
The threat of it happening becomes more debilitating than it actually happening. Because that means there are devils for you to deal with. Okay. Sometimes while you're waiting, there is a regimented army. This is in Mark 5. The man in the tomb of Gadarenes, and he had a legion of demons. Legion is more than just a bunch of folk. Legion means they're regimented. They are organized. Each one has an assignment.
That's right. That's right.
That as you take a deeper delve into the army of darkness, it's not just a bunch of listless demons coming against believers. That there is a hierarchy, there is a regimented effort in the army of darkness. You will never see from Genesis to Revelation 2 demons fighting each other for position.
Come on now. Come on.
You will never see from Genesis to Revelation 2 demons bumping heads about their assignment. For there are privates in the army of darkness. There are lieutenant sergeants and staff sergeants and generals and captains in the army of darkness. The Bible calls them principalities and spiritual wickedness that sit in high places to where. And from Genesis to Revelation, there is a regimented effort against the believers. And that there have lain assignments, but it's only when you get into the church to where you have 5 pastors but 1 pastor. It's only when you get into the church where you have choir members mad at the deacons and deacons are mad with the ushers. It's only when you get into the church to where you have jealousy abounding and hate groups and cliques in the church. The army of darkness are regimented in their effort, and they realize that the church, everybody's trying to be the king, nobody's trying to lead. But we can't have but one chief. Everybody else got to be an Indian. There's time out for all these chiefs in the church, and nobody wants to be an Indian. You got to follow if you want to lead one day. If you're a bad follower, you'll be a bad leader. And the same type of follower you were will be the same type of followers you have if you don't learn.
That's right.
But there was a legion of demons. That an organized army in the Roman Empire was about 3,000 to 6,000 men that all had assignments. There were archers. There were shieldsmen. Men that carried the flag. Men that carried the spear. Men that carried the hammer. There were horsemen. There were men that were flanked on the other side, but everybody knew what their assignment was.
Yes, sir.
So everybody in this man's life every demon